we talk about the most obvious thing in sports, and that's your Super Bowl. We go ahead and discuss the trade line, leaving more questions than answers. And then we use these tools, take them over to the woodshed, and give them our piece.
Don't touch that dial. It's Leo Valdez.
Give them the skibbity paps.
David Sintra.
Where is this guy coming from?
And Hunter Horn.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
With your pregame warm-up.
Yo, DJ, drop that beat.
Well, how you doing today, fellas? Dave?
Doing great, Leo. I'm doing great. How you doing, Hunter?
Doing great, Dave. Doing great. Leo, Dave, you know,
well, everybody is doing great.
It's a great week because it's the Super Bowl.
Oh, man. Hunter, I got a question for you, buddy. And I want you to be 100% honest with me because I know exactly how you feel, and I can tell when you're lying. And that is, who needs this more, Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts?
Well, to be honest with you, I personally think Patrick Mahomes probably needs this more just because it's expected that the Chiefs win this game, even though everybody's pulling for the Eagles somehow, which is odd because everybody I ask, I'm like, who's the better coach? They're like, Andy Reid. Okay, who's the better quarterback? Patrick Mahomes. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? The Eagles. It doesn't make sense to me. I personally think Patrick needs this one more because it really starts to set him up for that timeline to chase down Brady. Back to you, Leo.
Well, I could agree with that to a certain degree. Yeah, if he wants to chase Brady, I don't think really anybody can. At this point, I don't think a lot of teams are set up like that. I think as far as appearances are concerned, yeah, the Chiefs can do that. But I think Jalen needs it more because this is a guy who's had a chip on his shoulder since, playing at Alabama and was sat down during that Clemson game. And Tua stole his thunder, decisively so, because it was Tua that not only stole the thunder, but he stole the game from Clemson in that national championship game. However, I would say that Jalen has always been this come from behind kind of guy where it almost looks like he's the underdog in every story. He's clearly the underdog in this one. A lot of people like you feel that he's just one of those performing. Yeah, I'm such a genius, right, guys? He's an underperforming guy, and I say he's the guy that the Eagles need. He's that field general that passes the ball, does his thing, that kind of thing. Dave, what do you think about both of our assessments? Where would you go with that?
I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong, but I will say that Jalen Hurts definitely needs this a little bit more, so I'm going to have to agree with you, Leo. Why? Reason being, we know Patrick Mahomes. He's been to so many Super Bowls already in that short career. He's been there 3 times already. We see that he gets there like if it's nothing. So I do expect Patrick Mahomes to get there again in the near future, next year, 2 years, 3 years. I do see him getting there. But now Jalen Hurts on the other side and the Eagles, they're going to come across a couple cap casualties as well. But not only that, the NFC is stacked. And just within their own division, Leo's Giants, the Cowboys, they're going to get better. We already know how that is to win the division consistently. There's always different winners. So, and not even just that team, just overall, you have the Niners that are going to come back. So, there's just a bunch of teams, the Vikings that, they're young, they're ready, they're going to come back ready to go. And you know how hard it is to continue to come back to the Super Bowl, which is why I know I've seen Patrick Mahomes do it, kind of similar to Tom Brady. So, that's why I say I definitely can see Patrick Mahomes getting back. Now, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, that's a different story. It's hard to be consistent. And the Chiefs have shown that they've been consistent throughout these years with number 15 at quarterback. So yeah, I definitely say Jalen Hurts is needs it a little bit more than Pat this time ago.
Well, the reason I said that he could, get it a little bit more being towards Patrick Mahomes is, Patrick Mahomes is the veteran. When you're the veteran, you're expected to win and get it done. And he's already been there before. He's won a Super Bowl. And yes, I expect the Chiefs to be back also. But this is more Patrick Mahomes' moment to say, I won my other Super Bowls, not necessarily with with Tyreek, helping me. He helped me. It was a good combo, but I was the backbone of that team. This would solidify that, being that he took this Chiefs team from really nothing, and they've had a stellar offense once again. Great coach job by Andy Reid. That's all I was trying to say, is why I think he needs it a little bit more.
And that's understandable. I think both sides of the argument, they hold weight and they have water. So I think it's just the one that's going to carry the most. I honestly still think it's Jalen, mainly because the opportunities are not always going to be at present. And like I said, his story is one of inspiration as well. But yeah, I would say that Patrick does need it, maybe just as much. But I do think that Jalen needs it more in that little. I guess when we're counting inches and miles, I think this is more about centimeters more than it is about anything else. I guess the question then is, Dave, and I'll take this over to you. Who is going to be the outperformer in the Super Bowl, Mahomes or Hurst?
I'm going to stick to what's been going steady. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Patrick Mahomes. Even on maybe his not 100% ankle, we already know what he does. He gets there consistently. He shows that he doesn't need a true number one. Like he's there. You do have your receivers that come in and give you this and that, but they're not big name receivers, right? You have Travis Kelce, but we know Patrick Mahomes, and we know what he's going to give you. He's going to give you 300 passing yards, about 2 touchdowns. He makes these incredible throws under pressure. He gives it to you in every angle, from side, over, under, toss, left hand. He's just a wizard. He's literally, he's like Harry Potter. Since we're on the wizardry that just came out, he's literally like Harry Potter. He's a magician. So I'm gonna have to say Patrick Mahomes is gonna outperform Jalen Hurts. I'm gonna take a little bit of a messed up ankle over a shoulder that seems like it's already kind of slowed down Jalen a little bit. That you've seen the last couple of games. His throws haven't really been there. A couple here and there, but nothing crazy. So I'm gonna have to say Patrick Mahomes here, Leo.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. As far as outperforming, I think the numbers are going to show that Mahomes is going to kind of do most of the aerial assault. I think he's going to do a lot, but I think he's still not going to get it done. And we'll get to our picks momentarily. But Hunter, I'm going to go ahead and just turn it over to you as far as outperforming. I know we talked a little bit about Mahomes and Hurst, but I'm actually going to throw a little bit of a curveball for you. Do you think that the Kansas City running game is the X factor for this game, something that the Eagles have always struggled all season with? What do you think about that?
Well, the Eagles have always struggled this season with the check down running backs. So it'll be interesting to see Jerick McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield catching the ball. But to be honest with you, I really think it's going to be, I read the script, right? And it's a Kelce Super Bowl. So I really think Kelce is going to be more involved in the game plan than everybody really thinks.
That's a great assessment.
Yeah, that's actually a good assessment. And we will be going into that direction when we come back after this word from our sponsors. You're listening to the Pregame Warmup. And we are back, and we're still talking Super Bowl. We're going to go over a little bit more of the game plan and game scenario, and then we're going to give you our picks. So, Hunter, I'm going to go ahead and start with you and talk about the game plan for the Chiefs to win. What do you think they have to do? And you were kind of highlighting it a little bit, but go on right ahead.
Well, Leo, we can talk the obvious, right? That the Chiefs have to score more points than the Eagles, right? We could go that route, but let's be realistic here. It's going to be about what team controls the ball on the ground. Whoever runs the ball better controls the, I guess, short yardage situations, better third down percentage. So many little things have to be done, to go either way. This game's a toss-up, man, 50-50.
All right. I think that's a fair assessment. Dave, I'm going to kind of turn this around on you and ask you, what do the Eagles need to do to win this game?
Pretty simple, kind of how Hunter said. Keep the ball in their possession and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. It's pretty simple, which with that, like he was saying, you're going to need to run the ball. So control the run game, control the trenches. Whichever team wins the battle on the line is going to win this game. So the Eagles, and we know that both teams are really good on their line. Their offensive lines, both are good. Their defensive line, both are good. So we're going to see who controls the line the most, and that's what the Eagles need to do. They need to control the line. They need to get their run game going because we already saw that Jalen Hurts' shoulder is not the best, so we need to open up the offense for him, make it a little bit simple for him to be able to read the defense and not have them all just kind of rushing on him and not really worried about his passing and just not dropping much back. So I think that the Eagles are going to have to get that run game going as best as possible and keep Patrick Mahomes off that field for them to have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see all of that happening. I can actually see the Eagles keeping Mahomes off the field. I think their defense is not as highly credited as the 49ers defense was. I think that for the Eagles to win this game, their defense has to show up. It's more about I think this Super Bowl is more about the Eagles defense if they intend to win this game. And I think everybody's expecting an aerial assault from either both of these quarterbacks and mostly from Mahomes. I think that's really going to be the determining factors. If Mahomes is performing, the Eagles are losing. If the Eagles on defense are doing their thing, then they're going to be able to. I think if the Eagles are doing what they're supposed to be doing, then it's going to just turn into a field goal battle, and it's going to be the battle of the kickers. And for that, it might turn into a field possession game, which then those battles on the trenches do matter. I mean, so I'm just going to go from here and keep it where we're at and just ask this question really quick and just try to keep your answers brief. Hunter, who are you going with?
I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs, man. I gotta ride with Mahomes. I think Patty Magic gets it done. I really think that everybody thinks it's gonna be an air raid and all of this. I think from Kansas City it is gonna be a passing game attack, but I think it's gonna be short, 10-yard, nickel and dime down the field. Get the Eagles in that red zone where they've been vulnerable all season long. And I think the Chiefs come away 37-34.
All right, so
Ooh,
I'm going to put that down here.
High scoring. I like that. Give me that all day, please.
34. Yeah. All right, Dave, who do you got? And I guess what's your spread and what's your score?
Well, kind of. I mean, it's hard to go against Patrick Mahomes, So I'm gonna go like Hunter. I'm gonna say the Kansas City Chiefs are gonna win this game because of number 15, Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna do enough to bring his team to win the game. I do believe it's gonna be a very close game too. It's gonna be decided by a field goal. That's my belief. I think the Chiefs are just gonna do just enough on defense to hold them up to be able to get these plays to where Patrick Mahomes can drive them down to keep them in the game and win the game. So I'm going to have the final score 27-24. The Kansas City Chiefs win this game. Patrick Mahomes is a two-time champ and Super Bowl MVP. It's my pick. Okay. 325 passing yards and 3 touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to show why he's
putting stats on that. Man, Dave's locks are coming through, and you can catch those locks on our Instagram page at the official PGW. We've got the Lions Den locks, which I do, and then we have Gingy's Corner, and we also have Dave's locks. And Dave's locks, I mean, they always hit big. But actually, Dave, here's the sad reality. I'm actually going to go against you on this one and say that Philadelphia is going to win this. But I think we all have the same agreement that this is going to be a close game, because I'm also saying that this is by 3. And I'm actually going to say that the score is going to be 13-10. I think Kansas City's defense is a very solid defense. They're going to make life very difficult for Jalen, and he's going to get some lucky passes in there. I think he's going to get some calls called his way. Let's face it, the referees always play. They're the 12th man on the field. I think Mahomes is going to do his thing. He's going to get lucky. I think the Eagles in the first half are going to have Kelsey basically locked down. And then in the second half, he's going to be able to get away and get maybe that one that they need so that it's going to be like 10-10 by the third quarter. But I think that the Eagles end up pulling it out. 13-10 is my score. I like the Eagles defense. The Eagles defense is just, to me, they're underrated. They love taking the ball away from good quarterbacks, and that's the one thing that's going to prevail. I actually have Mahomes throwing 2 picks in this game, and like I said, it's going to make for really interesting football because even if Mahomes is performing at 200 yards, if he throws those 2 picks, that's momentum, and momentum is going to matter so much in this game. It's not even funny. All right, gentlemen. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. Again, you can follow us on Instagram for more of that on @theofficialPGW, and we're also on TikTok with the same handle @theofficialPGW. You can go ahead and follow us anytime. We'll be right back after this commercial break. This is your pregame warm-up. All right, we're back with the pregame warm-up, and we're going to talk NBA, and for that, we have Dave with us. He's going to answer some questions that I have because every time I've observed the trade deadline, it's always kind of like almost like they're juggling players around. The first time I saw a massive trade deadline like this, it was crazy because everybody was going for supermax money during the offseason. Now we're reaching this deadline, and a lot of moves were made, and it almost seems like the Dead Sea just got saltier all over the NBA, Dave. Just give us a quick synopsis real quick, and then I'll go ahead and ask you some questions about what you thought about our trade deadline here in the NBA.
I mean, first and foremost, Leo, dating back to the first episode, I don't know if you guys remember, but I said bold prediction was there was going to be the most trades in the NBA trade deadline this year in the history. And I mean, what do you know? There was about 21 trades. So I think I was pretty spot on. I mean, it just speaks to the NBA and the excitement. I mean, like you said, you had called it. There's something after when the new year hits that basketball, like by the All-Star break, basketball like comes alive. So this is part of it, the trade deadline, where there's always so many moving parts. It's a star-driven league, so it's also a very wide open league right now. So that's why you saw so many trades, Leo, because it's an open league where like you don't have a clear cut. Literally, you don't have a clear cut favorite that's you can look at it and be like, that team for sure is going to win, because there's so many good teams now, especially after the trade deadline, that now you're just looking at it like, wow, it's an arms race. Like who really wants it? You know, who can come together at the right time to win?
Right.
And you know,
and when it comes to that, right. And when it comes to that, I do have to ask, I guess, the questions that I guess a lot of people are asking, and they're not really getting a lot of answers. And maybe you have maybe a few more questions as well. But I will say that Kevin Durant being moved to the Phoenix Suns was probably maybe the most questionable thing that has happened in this in this whole trade scenario. Is it that the Brooklyn Nets were just casting him out of basically being able to out of serious contention for a championship? Because, I mean, as of right now, I mean, I'm going to just say with your jersey, you think, you know, the Lakers own the West. But I will say that, do you think maybe this gives do you think this was good for Durant? Do you think this was just the Nets just cleaning house? Like, what's going on?
I mean, so Leo, honestly, the writing was on the wall. I mean, in the offseason. I mean, Kevin Durant was the first one to ask for a trade before everything happened in the offseason. He asked for a trade. They couldn't find the trade partner for him to get enough value that they wanted to return. So he ended up pulling out of the trade. Kyrie Irving asked for a trade now. Like, it was just writings all over the wall. James Harden had asked for a trade. So, like, I just feel like it was almost time. Like, they tried to hold on too long to something that just obviously didn't work over there. Like, they just tried to the duo of Kyrie and KD didn't work. They tried to bring in another star. It just didn't work. So honestly, I just think it was. I wouldn't say it was out of nowhere, right? Because after they traded Kyrie, I wouldn't imagine KD would have stayed there because he wants to win. And I'm sorry, I mean, once you lose a superstar like that, like in this league right now, you kind of need two superstars to win a championship, Leo. That's kind of how it's going right now. You need like two stars to win right now. So,
I understand that, and I've always kind of I almost didn't like basketball because of that, and it's very hard for me actually because I know basketball is a star-driven league. There's no doubt about that. I know that baseball has struggled with trying to do that, but with basketball, they've got that down perfect. People follow the player. Doesn't matter. You can get a Durant jersey and just you could change your team. It doesn't matter. However, I am going to ask you this question. I guess to reiterate to my point, was KD getting moved to Brooklyn good for KD? Was it good for Brooklyn? Was it good or was it good for Phoenix? Honestly,
I mean, it was good for Phoenix because I mean they got a superstar, right, and then they already have Chris Paul, they have Devin Booker. So those are stars in themselves. So like I said, Leo, you kind of need stars to win a championship right now. So they pushed literally all their chips into the middle of the table because they traded off their entire depth for Kevin Durant. So, I mean, it was good for Phoenix because now they can try to win a championship, which they've, have been trying to win for all these years because that with Charles Barkley, they still didn't win the championship. And, they've always had with Steve Nash, they had great teams and great players, but they just haven't been able to win a championship. So, they're coveting this championship. So I guess it's good for the Suns, but now Brooklyn can just turn the page, from this KD and Kyrie era, if you want to call it, and then just now start building the right way because they have a bunch of draft picks, they have young players, and try to actually build a team through the right way, which is getting a player in the draft and a star, and then building up through a core of players in your team and whatnot. So I mean, I guess you can say it was a win-win situation on both ends, if you want to say, Leo. I wouldn't say him getting pushed out. It was just more like KD and the Nets agreeing, like, okay, look, like this didn't work out. Let's do each other a favor and get some return for both ways.
All right. Well, I see that. Okay, so it's mutual beneficiary in the end.
Definitely.
However, I'm going to ask about one of the teams. You're wearing their jersey, the Lakers, doing this crazy trade deal to try. It almost looked like they just did whatever they could to get Westbrook off the team. It was with the Utah Jazz and the Timberwolves. Like, what's going on there? Like, what was I guess who was trying to win in that trade scenario? Because I don't see mutual beneficiary going on there. I see somebody trying to get out of something, and then I see somebody profiting from that.
So yeah, most definitely the Lakers were trying to get rid of Russell Westbrook finally. I mean, it's a long time coming. It just didn't work out since last year. It was a weird fit with him and LeBron and AD. The way that kind of Russ plays just didn't mesh well with that type of core and what they needed. So, apparently, Leo, there was it was going sideways these last couple of weeks with the relationship and Russ kind of giving coach attitude and pouting about certain things that he didn't like or whatnot. So it just led to them having to move on, and they did a trade, yes, with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Utah Jazz. And it was mostly, they got a lot of good pieces. So I would say that they kind of saved their season in a way. And the Utah actually got what they needed. Danny Ainge is the president over there now, which he was at Boston. He did exactly what he did over there. He got a lot of picks, which, he loves to get picks. So, I mean, Utah ended up winning. They did get Westbrook, but he would get bought out. So, I mean, I think it was a win-win, and it was kind of time where they were just ready to separate their own ways. And I guess, it was a dump, just a get rid of, try to trade, like you said.
So you would say even this trade that was conducted between three teams was win-win-win. How did the Wolves win?
So the Wolves got back Mike Conley. They did lose D'Angelo Russell, but D'Angelo Russell's on an expiring contract, meaning he's going to be a free agent in the summer. So they were going to lose him for free anyways. And then they got Mike Conley, that's a floor general. He's a vet. You know, he knows how to set up an offense. He's going to play with Karl Anthony Towns. He already played with Gobert because Gobert was there at Utah before he got traded to Minnesota. So he's already knows how to play with him. Anthony Edwards, I feel like this is what they needed to help Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. So I really like what Minnesota did there. You know, they got a player that can help in the locker room, you know, with the veteran presence to the leadership, you know, that was kind of lacking in the locker room. And that's what Mike Conley brings. So that's why I would say that it's a win-win-win, because, you know, Utah got their picks. Minnesota gets a better upgraded, I wouldn't say upgraded, but just a veteran point guard that can help lead their team, which they were missing. And then the Lakers shuffled out, you know, Westbrook and a couple other pieces to get some four good players that they kind of needed to, you know, retool and revamp a roster that was kind of lacking to put them as serious contenders, hopefully. Yeah, you know, we'll see with time. But yeah, it was another win-win-win for sure.
Okay, yeah. So I can thank you for explaining that, because when I'm reading all the stories, it just seems everything's off the wall. I mean, it was wall-to-wall coverage basketball, and it was all concerning the deadline, and it almost seemed like rumor, conjecture, and then contract. Like where was who was going to end up where? Why were they going to end up there? And that's great. And I really appreciate you, Dave, for explaining that to me. Anybody who wants to go ahead and get more of our synopsis, individual synopsis between either players or games, hey, you're more than welcome to follow us. Our Instagram page, that's the official PGW. You could just look up Dave's Locks. Thanks, Dave, so much.
Before you go, we always have to give the shout out. LeBron James passed a scoring record. This is history, okay. 40 years in the making. You know, kudos. We got to give the congrats and the honor to, you know, something that nobody thought would ever be broken. So just a congratulations to LeBron James on becoming the all-time scorer. Huge feat.
Yes. Congratulations. Huge feat. He's been in the league probably since I graduated high school.
Yep.
I know LeBron and I are the same age, and there's no way I can compete with him in on the
longevity. Court. Yeah, so just a quick congratulations.
Right. So congratulations, LeBron, and we're going to keep this moving along. And like I said, we can always be followed on Instagram at the official PGW. You can also follow us on TikTok with the same handle. This is your pregame warm-up. And we are back here on the pregame warm-up, and I just want to take a minute here. Local sports, a lot of things are going on. Let's start off with the Mariana High School baseball team, and the baseball boosters are announcing their annual golf tournament. The tournament will be held on Saturday, February 25th at Indian Springs Golf Course. It's a 3-man scramble. It's $70 per player, with registration beginning at 8 a.m. and tee time at 9 a.m. Beef O'Brady's will be providing lunch. Cash prizes will be awarded to first, second, and third places. Additional prizes will be awarded for closest to the pin, longest drive, and the longest putt. For more information, please contact the baseball. You can either contact any Mariana High School baseball player, or you can talk to the coach, who is Adam Begale, at 850-209-1711. So, guys, I just want to say that's a pretty awesome deal. I mean, a 3-man scramble, $70 per person. You're talking about
not bad.
Helping out the Mariana High School baseball team. These guys are strong. Baseball's big here in Jackson County, and so we're going to go ahead and cheer our Bulldogs on.
Hey, golfing is
good
hard,
luck,
man.
Yeah, I mean, I think our charity our charity golf tournaments out here, we have them for all kinds of things, and they raise great money. And we did it for our Florida Sheriff's Office, and we've done it for a few other charities out here, and it's awesome. Every time those events come through, people show out. They have a lot of fun, and for this one, just go ahead, just call the coach. That number again, 850-209-1711. All right, guys. So let's get back to business on the Super Bowl, I mean, we're going to kind of take it a little easy here and just talk about some things about the Super Bowl that I think a lot of people just don't talk about, but it always becomes conjecture during media days. It mainly becomes conjecture when it's almost like that locker room talk that goes on about like cheap bets. So what do you think, Hunter, is like one of the cheapest bets that's made in the Super Bowl?
Cheapest is or like the most popular?
Well, it's the most popular because it's cheap.
Well, I know a pretty popular one is the coin toss, believe it or not. Everybody likes to bet on whether it's going to be heads or tails. It's one of the most popular prop bets in the Super Bowl.
That's true. How about you, Dave? What do you know?
That's a pretty hot prop bet that a lot of people usually take. I mean, there's all types of prop bets now, aren't there? I mean, we have literally, you can bet on the national anthem. You know, you can bet on what's like the first commercial of the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, there's a couple different bets that you can go ahead and put in on a prop. I think you could even bet like what's like the first song that Rihanna's gonna sing in the Super Bowl right now. Like, so there's just so many prop bets. But if I had to probably, say which one would probably be the coolest for me, I'd probably go with something like guess the first commercial or something. Like I think they give you like a couple options and you
what about
I saw one that was.
Is there a bet on a wardrobe malfunction?
There's Leo, honestly, there's just so many bets right now for it. Like will the first kick result, like the first opening kick result in a touchdown? Like in who will be shown first in the national anthem? Like
I saw one. Will the Gatorade bath hit the coach or will it miss?
Yeah, will the team that wins the coin toss actually win this year? Because the team that always wins the coin toss in the Super Bowl, by the way, guys, has lost for the last 8 years. So the team that wins the coin toss has lost for the last 8 years. So let's see where that coin toss flip lands this year and how it goes.
I guess that's why Hunter was saying
that's so weird, right?
One, because that will set the tone.
Yep. It's the script, right? The script of the heads and tails. If you have tails, you lose, and this is your script.
I wonder how they get the coin.
So then they just run to the sidelines and hand the scripts.
I wonder how they get
Dave,
we're talking about scripts.
I wonder how they get the coin to go along with the script.
Yeah, right. Come on.
That's based on a rumor out there, folks. Incredible. If you haven't heard it, don't worry. That's just another one of those off the wall conspiracies. Pay no mind to it. We don't do rumors and conspiracies. We make fun of them. That's for sure.
Gosh, that was funny.
Clearly, Jesus, a script. Come on, man. Like every team's not trying to go out and win,
right? But man, those were some good laughs. That one of Tom Brady watching Matt Ryan walk into the script meeting.
Yeah. The internet just went crazy with it, and I mean, like we said, Leo, we just make fun of it because it's just absurd.
All right, really, but just so that the folks at home know what this is about, is that there was somebody. Was it Hunter? Was it an ex-player?
It was an ex-player. He got up on a podcast and.
What did he do? Go ahead.
And he got up on a podcast and he was like, "Well, the NFL scripted and practice is just practicing the script." So the internet went crazy and it was like, RG3 reading the script for the season, he blows his knee out, and Tom Brady reading the script. Reading the script and watching Matt Ryan walk in and reading about how he's going to blow a 28-3 lead in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. So just all sorts of stuff. Another great one was it showed Michael Jordan and Tom Brady hugging each other, and it said the two GOATs after reading each other's scripts.
That's crazy.
I just think that's just some off the wall stuff that somebody can come up and I guess it's because there's always that one conspiracy that not everything is up to chance, but I don't see someone like Jerry Jones trying to buy off the guy who's writing the script to get the Cowboys to finally win the Super Bowl without Jimmy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right? He's probably looking, man. He's probably offering more than
who
money.
Gives the largest? It's like who gives the largest donations to the Script Foundation is the winner of the Super Bowl.
He's probably offering more than money at this point.
And so while we're talking, oh my gosh, you're terrible. All right, but while we're talking about football, here's the thing. Football guys, I have a question. When do you think football really starts for you at like what age?
I would say probably 8, 7,
4 years old.
6. Maybe.
4 years old. That's right.
4 years old.
Friday night
4 years old.
tykes. There you go.
Friday night tykes, man. Listen, if you can walk, you can run the football.
I like that assessment.
Right?
That's a good assessment. Well, the Jackson County Youth Football League is having their signing day on February 25th. For football players, they sign up. It's a $125 registration fee. For anyone who wants to be a cheerleader, it's a $150 registration fee. It will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Citizens Lodge, located at 4574 Lodge Drive in Marietta. For more information, you can call Roger at 850-658-2011. And that's a beautiful thing right there, because that is where football begins, right here in your hometown, playing, learning the game, figuring it out. That's the purity of the game.
Get them kids outside. Get them kids outside. Get them playing football. Get them healthy.
Like the good old days.
Off that Fortnite.
That's right. Get them off that Hogwarts legacy. You know.
Listen, get them off those violent video games and get them out there playing a violent sport.
That's right. Let them play some. Let's
it's
play
about
some,
being outside.
it's about learning the system, and it's about like feeling. I know football's a violent sport, but I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Football, is a violent sport, but at the end of the day, there's still a method of control about it that teaches young men it teaches young boys to become men. It teaches them to learn how to be teammates. All this other stuff. This video gaming, it's very solo.
And if you don't learn to control yourself, you're gonna send the other team to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yep, simple.
More to come on the pregame warm-up. We've got the woodshed just right around the corner, so we'll be right back right after this. We are back at the pregame warm-up. Everybody, I hope you've been enjoying the show so far, but it's time for our favorite segment, the woodshed.
Not a problem, sir. He's a good kid. He's just got to watch his language in front of the ladies.
I'll remind Kevin where he comes from.
Okay, that sounds terrific.
You use foul language in front of a lady?
No, Daddy, no! Dave, who you got?
This week, I mean, it's pretty clear. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It's got to be said already. The Brooklyn Nets, as an entire organization, finally, guys, you threw in the white towel. You finally decided, hey, it just wasn't working. The experiment, the little era that you tried to put together of a big three didn't work. It just sometimes it doesn't happen your way. And every time it can go your way. So it finally came to grips. You traded KD, you traded Kyrie. Now just look into the future. You got a bunch of picks. Actually do something with the picks. Pick some nice players. Keep the nice young players you got in the core. Build something up. Draft well. And then, do something that way. This is the second time that you guys try to do this. First with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. You guys traded Boston. I don't know how many picks when Danny Ainge was there for a bunch of old dudes that were on their way out. Had nothing left. You threw away all your picks. Then again, you got some picks and you decided to throw them all away for a couple dudes that just left you. So lesson be learned, Brooklyn Nets. Build up the right way. You have a couple nice young players currently right now, and you have a bunch of draft picks that are coming up, first-round picks, a ton, about 12 of them. Use them wisely. Get some good talent. Trade a couple to maybe get a first one that's a first pick in the draft from some team that can use a couple more picks, and build that way. And I'm sure you guys are going to make it. All right. So got to take you to the woodshed. Sorry, Nets fans. It's still a Knicks town. To the woodshed, Brooklyn Nets.
All right. We're going to keep this in the NBA family. LeBron is maybe one of the most beloved and hated people in the league. But Hunter, it's not LeBron you're taking to the woodshed. Who is it?
No, it's the LeBron lovers, okay? And I'm not talking about the people that were like, oh, okay, cool, you know, LeBron got the scoring title, this and that. No, I'm talking about the people who had full emotional breakdowns because a human who doesn't even know they exist broke a scoring title. As Dave said, 40 years in the history. Yes, impressive, kind of, maybe. I mean, if you play long enough as like the sixth man on a team, you could break that record. It's not that impressive. But these people were here breaking down in their living rooms, crying as if LeBron James had just found the cure to cancer. That's a little too much if you ask me. So off to the woodshed with you LeBron fans. Listen, learn to be happy, but the guy's not Jesus.
All right, yeah. The guy's not Jesus. I think that's a good line right there. Put that on his shirt. Okay. So who I'm going to take to the woodshed is all the Jalen Hurt haters. Jalen Hurt has been one of the most, as I was saying earlier in the very beginning of the show, one of the most, I guess, underrated guys. He's always an underdog guy. And a lot of people gave a lot of love to the 49ers and basically felt like the Eagles stole the game from them. They felt like Jalen was just straight up trash because of his numbers. And when I say he was the X factor, I'm not saying that he was the guy who was scoring all the points. I didn't say he was the guy throwing all the yards. What I'm basically saying about Jalen Hurts being an X factor is because he has the ability to do what his coach is managing him to do. He's being the quarterback he's supposed to be for the team. He's not trying to do more than what is asked of him. And I think he's learning that a lot more with that shoulder injury. Just like some quarterbacks, like Lamar Jackson over in Baltimore, he does great things. He's a great player. But when they try to do too much and they go and become the one-man team, it causes problems. It doesn't just cause problems on the field. It doesn't just cause problems for a player that gets hurt. It also causes problems for the team in the locker room when they feel as though this one-man show is taking away their ability to be in the spotlight. Sorry, Lamar Jackson is good because he's got a good offensive line. Take that offensive line away from him, and he might have an RG3 career. Here we have Jalen in Philadelphia. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and when he tried to do more, he almost lost out for the season. So to all you haters out there who are not really appreciating what Jalen is doing this season in the NFL, I'm going to take you to the woodshed because you're not appreciating somebody who's actually grown from college to the pros and is bringing the Philadelphia Eagles, a team I despise and hate, to their Super Bowl run when it wasn't expected for them to even get off the ground in what was once predicted as the worst division in football. So, sorry, guys. You're going to be in the woodshed maybe for a little while because we don't know what's going to happen on Sunday. There's a lot of predictions. There's a lot of things going around. But here's one thing that is for sure. You can follow us on Instagram at the official PGW. You can also follow us on TikTok with the same handle. You can also catch us on video on YouTube at the Pregame WP. I'm Leo Valdez.
Hunter Horn.
I'm Dave Sintra.
And you're listening to your Pregame Warmup.
See you when you get back from Cuba.
Say hi to Castro for me.
Will do.